Welcome to Best Life 30, your 30-day journey to creating the best life possible for yourself. You can watch just this video, or if you want to sign up for the whole series for free and get the bonus companion worksheets that go along with this video, check out the link in the description below. All right, so today is bonus day number 1, and we're going to learn how to have more balance.
How do you go about establishing that work-life balance that everybody, talks about and thinks about? You live a big life, right? And how do you
I get this question a lot. I get it. I teach senior executive kind of leadership classes at Amazon for our most senior execs, and I also I also speak to interns, so kind of all across the spectrum. And I get this question about work-life balance all the time from both ends of the spectrum. And my view is I don't even like the phrase work-life balance. I think it's misleading. I like the phrase work-life harmony, because I know that if I am energized at work, happy at work, feeling like I'm adding value, part of a team, whatever energizes you, that makes me better at home. It makes me a better husband, a better father, and likewise, if I'm happy at home, it makes me a better employee, a better boss, all the things. It's not primarily about, there may be crunch periods where it's about the number of hours in the week, but that's not the real thing. Usually it's about, do you have energy? And is your work depriving you of energy, or is your work generating energy for you? And there are people, everybody in this room knows people who fall into these two camps. You're in a meeting and the person comes in the room. Some people come into the meeting and they add energy to the meeting. Other people come into the meeting and the whole meeting just deflates. And those people they drain energy from the meeting. And you have to decide which of those kinds of people you're gonna be. Are you gonna add energy?
And the same thing at home.
And the same thing at home. And it's a wheel, it's a cycle, it's a flywheel, it's a circle. It's not a balance. Because a balance, that's why that metaphor is so dangerous, because it implies there's a strict trade-off. And you could be out of work, have all the time for your family in the world, but really depressed and demoralized about your work situation, and your family wouldn't want to be anywhere near you. They would wish you would take a vacation from them. And so it's not about the number of hours, not primarily. I suppose if you went crazy with 100 hours a week or something, that maybe there are limits, and they probably. But I've never had a problem, and I think it's because both sides of my life give me energy, and that's what I would recommend. And that's what I do recommend to interns and execs.
I believe in work-life integration. I don't think and I'm not being disrespectful because I.
Oh no! Yeah,
I'm saying everybody has a different metaphor. I'm telling you my metaphor. I'm not making somebody wrong who's focused on balance. But to me, if you say balance, it's like, okay, let's use a teeter-totter or a seesaw. Okay, let's balance it. Now that we've done that, how long are we going to stand there balancing this thing before one of us wants to jerk this thing around just to feel alive, right?
Yeah.
So I really think balance is more about integration for me. It's more about how do I make sure that I feel like the areas of my life, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, my health, sports. I got 31 companies, I got 1,200 employees in 7 radically different industries. We do $5 billion a year. I mean, all these things are going on. How do I do that? Well, I believe that the way I do that is in streaks. I do streaks of unbelievable intensity work, and then I do streaks of let go and be in paradise and enjoy. And so I like running hot. I want to at the end have me climb a new mountain. That's just me. So I'm not saying that's right for other people. I'm saying you got to find what it is. But the idea of balance for most people makes them torture themselves. And I say, for me, if it tortures you, get rid of it. And instead of talk about integration, I asked Mary Callahan Erdos, who's, if you're not familiar with her, she's probably one of, if not the smartest person in the financial world, female. She's head of JP Morgan and manages 2.3 trillion with a T, not a B, $1 trillion worth of money. One of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. Breaks all the molds on people in the financial business. There's not an ounce of manipulation in her body. I mean, just good soul. And I asked her about the balance thing. You're running the biggest bank in the world, right? Trillions of dollars. And she said, Tony, I don't believe in it. And she told me work-life balance. I started laughing. We're completing each other's sentences. She has the same philosophy. But her dad used to take her to work. And he was a financial guy when she was a little girl. She used to have her brother be the secretary. And she took her dad's seat and ran the show. And she said, doing that with my dad, she goes, I loved it. I was a part of his life. I got to be a part of, see that part of his life instead of coming home and me not knowing it. And she said, and that's what she's done with her kids. And at JP Morgan, she leaves and picks her kids up. And she still runs the biggest bank in the world and deals trillions of dollars. So would she say it's balanced? She'd say, no, it's not balanced, it's integrated. She knows when to move into one or the other, right? So that all the parts of her life are rich. Maybe instead of balance, it's a rich life in the areas that matter.
Yeah.
Right? Rich with your children, rich with your husband or wife, rich with your dear friends, rich with the impact that you want to have, your mission, rich in terms of successful business and or whatever your career is that you really feel a sense of meaning and enjoyment. To me, that's more important than balance. And I think, but I'm a very passionate, crazy son of a bitch. Right? So it's like, balance sounds a little boring to me personally. No. If you're tortured by balance, trying to be balanced, like, people, I'm not balanced enough. Give that shit up. Instead, enjoy yourself. Enjoy your children. Enjoy the time. Be where you are right now. That to me is more important than trying to make everything balanced, because that gets you cerebral. It makes you evaluate things. Yeah. The more you evaluate, the less you can actually experience what's here right now.
Work-life balance is a myth. You can call it work-life integration. Jeff Bezos calls it work-life harmony. The key is that there's never going to be a day when everything is balanced, 50% work, 50% family. We're not talking about that. We're talking about refueling. So there may be a time when you pull an all-nighter. I mean, I obviously emphasize sleep, but
Have you pulled all-nighters?
Yes. I mean, let's say the day before we launch Thrive, we're all in the office pulling an all-nighter. The question is, how quickly do you refuel? If you can do it the next day or the day after that. Even in our cultural values at Thrive, we have something that we call Thrive Time. Mm-hmm. We don't say this is a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
There are no interesting 9-to-5 jobs.
What have you guys found is your thing that kind of allows you to balance the two? Like what's the groove you figured out along the way to at least make the best of balancing the two of life and business?
Well, for me, to be honest with you, I don't have balance. I mean, I don't seek it, and nor do I have it, to be candid with you. I mean, at any given time, there's certain areas of my life that are spiking compared to other ones, and I think just the people around me know that there's going to be times where I'm going to have an abundance of time with my family. There's going to be times where, I'm just going nuts with work or whatever it is in my life. So I don't really have balance. I don't seek it. I think balance is boring. And I think people that have a ton of balance probably aren't achieving a whole lot or accomplishing a lot or loving a lot. Like, I like a little drama. I like a little intensity. I like stress. And so I'm not even really after that. So I think people that are seeking that are seeking something, at least for me, I don't know how GC feels about it, but for me, it's not something I want, nor do I know that perfect balance exists for anybody. I mean, I think you're probably pretty balanced when you're dead. But, when I'm living and I'm alive, there's just different areas of my life at any given time that demand more of my time or that I'm demanding more of my time in. And so, at least for me, I don't have it.
Have you tried to, like in your career, tried to have it and then figured, forget this, it's not working? Or
it's not that I'm not aware when I need to invest time in something that I haven't been. It's not that I'm not aware of that. It's just I'm not under the illusion that I'm going to get to a perfect balanced state.
Gotcha.
Because I've lived long enough in, I guess what you'd probably call some kind of controlled chaos. I enjoy variety. I like uncertainty. I like not everything being the same every single day. I get asked a lot about routines and things like that. I'm a very regimented, very routine person, yet I hope there's different things in my day, different variables, different things every single day. So I think if someone's seeking balance, they're probably chasing the wrong thing, at least for me. That's not what I want. I don't want to be bored. I don't want to know what every day is going to be like. And I like that life calls me to different places and it demands me to be great in one place over another at any given time. So I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very similar that I'm not, I think it's an illusion, a little bit of an illusion that somebody that's seeking balance is probably struggling in an area, maybe not winning in it. And it kind of goes along this whole theme about when do you burn out, people struggling with burnout. I've been told by numerous people I'm going to burn out. I've been told that since I was 26 years old. You're going to burn out. And here I am, 34 years later, I hadn't burned out. I have more energy today than I had when I was 26. I'm not a candle. I'm a spiritual being. A spiritual being in their perfect condition would not be interested in a balance. It would be unnecessary. So,
like nature, it's in a state of flow almost.
The spirit itself would be able to move into any space at any time without any gimmicks, without any preparation, and be able to assist in the next emergency. You know, I see first responders, these heroes that jump into situations that they didn't know there was going to be a fire. They didn't know there was going to be a 9/11. They didn't know that a kid was going to be trapped in a car. They move into an event to save a situation. And that's what I hear Ed saying. Like, he moves into whatever needs to move in, very, very much like a liquid would, mercurial, to be mobile, you know, to be able to move into different things. This is why financial freedom is so important for people. And it's why cash flow is so important, so that people can move to their parents and help them, move to a kid in their community that needs help. And that's why I push that money message so much, because when you have enough money, balance is not what you're seeking. Contribution and charity.
If you concentrate solely on your career, you can get a long way in your career. And I would say that that's a strategy that a minority of men preferentially do. That's all they do. They work like 70, 80 hours a week. They go flat out on their career. They're staking everything on the small probability of exceptional status in a narrow domain. But it's hard on them. They don't have a life. It's very difficult for them to have a family. They don't know how to take any leisure activity. Like, they get very one-dimensional. Now, it may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing. Right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius level mathematician and you want to do that or a scientist, say, it's like you're in your lab all the time, you're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're smart, you're dedicated, you're unidimensional, and that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life. Now, if you love being a scientist and you have that kind of focus of mind, well, first of all, you're a rare person, and second, you're going to pay for it. But fine, more power to you. But it's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it. You know, and I would say most often, if you're speaking about having a healthy life, that isn't what you do. You spread yourself out more. So, you know, you have a family, you have some things that you do outside of work that are meaningful to you and useful. You have a network of friends. Well, those 3 things alone, or 4 things alone, are plenty to keep you well oriented. And then if one of those things collapses, you know, everything doesn't go. Now, the price you pay for that is the more you strive to optimize that balance, the less likely you are to be fantastically successful at any single one of them. But you might have a very, you know, if you consider your life as a whole, that might be a winning strategy. One of the things Carl Jung said, I really liked this. He thought that men went after perfection and women went after wholeness. So they're different value. They're different. There's something different at the top of the value hierarchy. So perfection would be stake it all on one thing and look for radical success. Not that all men do that, because they don't, but we're talking about extremes. At least with regards to the men that do that. The wholeness idea is more like, well, it's like I want one thing in my life to be 150%, or I want 5 things in my life to be 80%. Well, there's a lot more richness in a life where you have 5 things operating at 80%, but you're not operating at any of them at 150%. So, and I really believe this because I've watched men and women go through their careers now for a long period of time. And one of the things there's lots of things that produce this. But one of the things that I've noticed is that mostly women in their 30s bail out of unidimensional careers. They won't do them. They won't put in the 80 hours a week that they would have to put in order to dominate that particular area. And it isn't, the reason that they won't do it is because they decide it's not worth it. And no wonder, because why would that be worth it? You have to ask yourself that. It's like, well, you want to be an outstanding scientist. It's like, okay, really, that's what you want? Because that means that's what you do. Because you're competing with other people. You know, they're smart, they're hardworking, and if you want to be at the top, you have to be smarter and work harder than any of them. And working hard means working long hours. I mean, it also means working diligently, but in the final analysis, it's also an additive issue. If I'm smart and hardworking and I can crank out for 70 hours a week, and you do it for 30, it's like, in 2 years, I'm so far ahead of you, you will never, ever catch up.
My biggest challenge is balance. My biggest challenge is, how do I continue to succeed and achieve on the level that I've been going for all these years, but still be a good husband to my wife, still be a good father to my kids?
Yeah.
And to do that, it's not like I'm good about getting home, but I need to get better about being present when I'm home.
Taking the phone and throwing it in the other room.
100%.
Because you've got the biggest artists in the world, and when they call you, you can't just say.
Yeah, and I'm also a workaholic.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
you want to do it too.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance which I struggle with every day.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite stories. See, I don't know if I should have watched our interview. Remember what I said before and what I did.
We got a lot of new people on here who probably listen.
Look, my wife is the founder of Cancer,
mm-hmm.
And now she has a new thing she's also doing called Mother Lucker, which is right on brand.
Yeah.
And one day I came home and. You know, we were going through something really rough with one of my clients. And about 4 days in a row, I was coming home stressed out. I kept bringing it to bed. I was stressed out, kept bringing it to bed. Finally, my wife, on like the fourth or fifth night, she gets up and she goes, "You can't keep bringing this home to bed." She's like, "I don't need this energy."
Yeah.
And in a classic, obnoxious entertainment, I make, money way, I looked at my wife and said, "That's unfair for you to say that to me. How do you think I provide this life? This is what I do for a living. You knew what you got when you signed up with this. Like, you can't, you have to respect, I'm not doing this for me. This isn't selfish. I'm working hard for other people." And my wife looked at me and she goes, "Okay, well, I've been helping someone with chemo for the last week. Should I bring that home?" And you talk about a shut the fuck up moment.
Wow.
Instantly, a couple things happened. Number one, I realized why I married her and why I'm madly in love with this woman. Two, which I've said many times before, she reminded me that what I deal with is inconveniences. What she deals with is problems. And that helped me with balance. Understanding what's really important and what's bullshit.
Right.
And when you have children, that helps even more because all you want to do is get back to your kids and be present with them because they don't care.
No. They don't care who you are, what you do, and they don't know any of these people.
My kid just wants to play hide and go seek.
Yeah. He doesn't want to draw on a piece of paper.
He doesn't care.
Swim.
He wants to play hide. Daddy, run. I'm a
Catch
hide.
me.
Daddy, run. Come back in the room. I'm a hiding. That is the game.
Yeah.
That is life right now. And, I think what's important to me also with balance is that I really do want to be someone that people in my industry look at. I want to change the paradigm. When I came in, it was fast women, fast cars, bottle popping. Like that's the music industry when people think about it. And I want to I'm 35 years old and I've been a part of a lot of big records and a lot of big artists. Some people know, some people don't even know. And I want to change it so when people come to business and they say, "Who's the baddest dude here?" They see someone who is family first.
You are known as one of the nicest, most pleasant people in show business, but you're also a really big boss that gets a lot of things done. So how do you balance being nice and having to lay the smack down?
There's a few things. I always try and make sure that I find time every day to be grateful for everything that I have. When you start off our days finding things to be grateful for, it inevitably leads to a greater happiness. So every day I wake up, I'm a grateful man for everything that I have, but I'm also very quick to make sure that when something needs to get done, and you have to either articulate it to somebody else, and you have to set a protocol, and you have to set parameters, and you have to lay the smack down, you got to do it in a firm way. I do it in a kind way, but I also do it in a firm way. And when it comes to laying the smack down, if anybody's rude or if anybody is treating other people rudely or unkindly, I'll happily step in. And they don't want any bit of this. All right, don't let this smile fool you. Because this is 260 pounds of kick somebody's ass around here.
And I want to share with you a piece of advice that one of my mentors gave me a few years ago. He sat me down Actually, I was already sitting. He sat down next to me and he said, I get that you're struggling right now. I mean, at the time I was going through a problem. And he said, Sean, you got to remember this. Life is a delicate balance of, on one hand, remaining flexible, and on the other hand, enforcing your boundaries. And it was so simple that I almost discarded it. That advice just sounded trite. Like, what? Flexible, yet boundaries. And he further explained that you gotta remain flexible. Life is going to change on you. But you also have to enforce your boundaries. You gotta let other people know, and the universe know, what you will and will not tolerate. And he said if you get too, what was the words he said? If you get too flexible, you can be manipulated and walked on. If you get too much in the space of enforcing your boundaries, you'll become cold, hard, and distant. And people aren't going to want to love you, work with you, hang out with you. You need a balance. And then I looked at my life, and I thought, well, where am I gravitating towards naturally? Well, my whole life I've had to remain flexible. I mean, I'm 3 feet tall and in a wheelchair. I have, a condition that by the time I turned 18, I'd fractured over 200 times. Something like going to the airport on a family vacation and I break my arm putting my jacket on and now we can't go. All these things happened in my life that forced me to become flexible, handle whatever comes at you. But when it came to enforcing boundaries, sometimes I wasn't strong enough. And sometimes I would tolerate things in relationships, in business partnerships that I didn't agree with, but I didn't want to rock the boat. Can you relate? But not everybody's like me. Some people get really good at enforcing their boundaries, making it very clear what they will and won't tolerate. They have a hard time, and you move one little thing on their desk, or you change one thing about their life, or you need them to compromise on something, and they freak out. They can't handle uncertainty. They can't handle dealing with other people's schedules, whatever it may be. They just have a hard time being flexible with life. And you need to think about where are you naturally gravitating, because it's time to move yourself more towards the middle. If you've gotten really good at enforcing your boundaries, congratulations. That's awesome. You're not going to be messed with. But maybe you're very hard to deal with. Or maybe you're like the most flexible person on earth. Everybody loves you. You're the nice girl, a nice guy. But you get walked all over. And you have no self-respect now because you get manipulated and pushed in. Or maybe you were one and then swung the pendulum so far to the other side that you've lost your original space. The goal is to find that center point. It's to find that elegant, graceful dance, as my mentor called it. The dance between remaining flexible and enforcing your boundaries. So next time you're having a challenge with someone or in your own life, just by yourself, ask yourself, am I too strict with my boundaries? Am I laying down the law too much and making it uncomfortable for people to deal with me? Or am I too flexible? Am I too accommodating? Am I making all kinds of concessions and getting walked on or abused? Figure out what is it for you. Keep the two in balance. And your life will flow.
Most often, if not always, our lives seem to be out of balance. And when lives are out of balance, it makes us very irritable. When we drive a car, we always drive a car and a car has 4 wheels. A rhetorical thing to say, isn't it? You drive a car on these 4 wheels, and these 4 wheels in the car of life represent, first wheel, your personal life. Your health, your mind, yourself, the things that you love to do, the things that you would want to do, not have to do. Most times we live a life of have to do. I have to study. I have to work. I have to pay my bills. I have to pay the taxes. I have to do this and I have to do that. I have to go for this social function. I don't have a choice. I have to. Where did the love to go? We just end up living a life of have tos and have forgot about our own selves. By subscribing to the pressures that come from all fronts in our lives, we've forgotten to live our own lives. We don't have time to unwind. We don't have time to spend with our own selves. We don't have time to be with nature and take a deep breath and just relish the crispness of the air. We don't have the time to do all of that, especially in a metropolitan city like this. When the pressures are so high and the pace is so fast, we just don't have time for ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And that's one car, one wheel of our car, isn't it? Personal life. Our health, for instance. Such an important thing. But at the cost of just running, we forget to pay attention to our own health. The second wheel of the car is family life. Demands attention, isn't it? Your personal life demands attention. Your family life demands attention, isn't it? Before marriage, when you are in love, they call it a crush, isn't it? But after marriage, all that is left is Candy Crush. All the crushes are gone and all that you're left with is a Candy Crush. Just keep playing Candy Crush. And all the headaches coming from all the pressures. One lady went to a doctor and the doctor said, "How's your headache, madam?" She said, "He's out of town." Gosh, I must tell you, it demands a lot of attention. Your personal life, the first tire, do you have one? Do you have a personal life is my question. Do you have time for your health? Even in my hectic schedule, I have made 5 days of exercise here still. In all the lectures and all the talks and everywhere I go, because that's what's going to keep me going. I have to give time to myself because I don't get more than 3.5 to 4 hours of sleep. So if I don't look at my physical fitness, I'm gone. Ladies and gentlemen, do you give time for yourself? Do you have time for yourself, your personal time? Or is that wheel out of balance? Is it a flat tire? The third wheel, tire of the car of life is your professional life. Your personal life needs attention. Your family life needs attention. Your professional life needs attention. And the fourth is your social life. Your friends, people around you, your colleagues. Those relationships that matter a lot to you. Those people who would support you in time of need. Because to your spouses, to your family, you could speak a little. Sometimes certain things are not always confided with just blood relationships. You need that social side. People to whom you can speak. Open up your heart. How often do we just carry this baggage of stress and load, anxiety and worry in our heads? Lugging it all around as baggage. There's a social side to our life. Our friends. You know, I've had those moments where I've snapped. Even as a monk. Because I'm a human being. Just because I put these robes of a monk doesn't mean I've become, a celestial angel. I'm still a human being. When one of those tires is out of order, if I haven't slept well, if my health is out of place, I'm going to snap out. You carry work pressures at home, you carry home pressures at work. Ladies and gentlemen, irritability is a symptom of an out of balance life. Stability in our responses is a symptom of a life in balance. We are irritable, we snap, we react at the drop of a hat for trivia just because we are out of balance. People who have a balanced life know how to handle pressure. People whose lives are not balanced sink under pressure and get so irritable at little things, they just kind of snap off.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy, but before that, it's time for the Best Life 30 questions of the day. It's not enough to just watch a video like this. You have to do something and take action in your life. So pull out your worksheets and answer these questions. And if you don't have the worksheets yet, you can get them for free by signing up for the series in the description below. Here we go. Question number 1. What does a balanced life look like for you? Number 2, what's the first change you need to make to get more in balance? And number 3, how does your next month need to change to match your definition of balance? And if you're doing the Best Life 30 challenge with me, give me a hashtag BestLife30 down in the comments as well so I can celebrate you.
I think if you have a partner who doesn't support your business, you're either going to lose your business or you're going to lose your partner. It's really hard to be mission driven and want to have a successful company and be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't support you. I think there's 4 buckets that people fall into. 2 of them are negative and 2 of them are positive. The 2 on the negative side, you have a partner who